Mr. Toastmaster of the evening, distinguished Toastmasters. I'm quite honored, humbled to be in front of you. Thank you very much for for an introduction that's overdone, very generous one. Before I go into my presentations, I would like to make two confessions. The first one is that I've heard about the Jupiter Toastmasters, and all I've heard is good, that you're young and dynamic. But however, this is the very first time that I've attended a meeting and have witnessed it. So it's even beyond what I've heard. You guys are fantastic. Second thing I would like to make is, this is not an original speech I'm making. I have made it in my club, and the objective was, we had a dwindling in terms of membership, attendance, and so on. So what can we learn from the Toastmasters? Can you share your experiences? So that's what I shared. For you, it's not your weaknesses, maybe it can be building on your strengths. So the basis for my speech happened last December 2011. I was with a good friend of mine. He was from elementary school. He had asked me to have tea, and I went to have tea, and we had an unexpected guest to join us. The very famous Mulatu Astad came. So we had about 3 hours together. We chatted about this and that, and it became one of a very good evening that I had in 2011. So what made it very memorable that day in December 2011? Now I'll tell you for sure, I'm not a fan of jazz or Ethio jazz. So that was not the reason. I know Mulatu was buzzing with fame at that point. That was one of the very few weeks he was in Addis. And it was not even that excited me. What excited me was that when we were having our discussions, same way we are having this meeting today, I could easily concur with 3 things that he was saying. So I wanted to share those 3 things with you. And most of it I've seen this evening. The first thing I want to ask you is, what motivates you in what you do? So I think the 2 speeches had a bit of them. Happiness, trying to drive you, and Qantas. But again, it's a big question, it's a critical question, it's a difficult question. What motivates you in what you do? Now, according to Mulatu, he says art is very important, and art meaning especially music, painting, and drama. And he says if a person is involved in art one way or another, then he's bound to be happy, he's bound to be more all-rounded, and also very successful. So that was where he comes from. Which remind me of what was the first reason that I joined Toastmasters in September of 1998. If you thought I joined to be a proficient speaker or a competent leader, no, that was not the reason. Nowadays you have already proficient speakers and leaders trying to be better, but that was not the reason. And if you thought it to hone skills, soft skills, like giving feedbacks, presenting a speaker, and so on, which are in premium demand at the moment, which will definitely boost your employability wherever you go. That was not the reason. I was not aware of this. Or even making money. Believe it or not, being a chairperson fetches you a lot of money these days. It does. And I can signpost places for you to do that. And people are in dire demand of those skills. I'll not hold you in suspense. The reason I joined Toastmasters back in 1998 was because I loved drama. I liked to be on the stage, I liked to have the dialogues, the monologues, and so on. So that was the only reason I joined and stayed for a long period of time. And doing the things that you love makes you happy, makes you better on them, and so on. Now for Mulatu, when he got the chance to go to the UK to study, he went to study physics. But the teachers that were following him very closely said, look, you're not a physics type, you are a music type. So they kind of advised him, why don't you pursue music? And he kind of started to do what he loved to do. And if I ask you the most honorable DTM at work, what did he set out to do? Mining engineering. And then when he went, he found out painting, and then he became a painter. So the whole point, how does it relate to Toastmasters? When you come to Toastmasters, it should not be a burden. It should be something that you love, something that you enjoy. If that happens, then without you knowing it, without you feeling it, you can always get better and better. So when I joined that because I love drama, and I got that chance for drama in the be it dialogues or be it monologues and so on. The same way with universities. Now the second question I have with you, again I see it here a lot. What makes you successful in what you do? Now there are classical questions. The first is what? Diligence. Is it hard work and diligence that gets you where you want to go? Is it luck? Being at the right place at the right time? What is it? Is there a magic formula, like a silver bullet? You do it and then you're successful. Now this can be argued again over and over. But now there is a philosophy, I don't know who said it. If you do something 10,000 times, it doesn't matter what it is, 10,000 times, then you become an expert on it. And how people try to prove this is like, take Bill Gates, the most successful person and the most rich person. 1980, he came up with the personal computer, a new technology, something not foreseen. Suddenly he got it and he became rich. So people could say, look, he's been lucky. People thought that the mainframes and so on were to be for organizations, to be had by big companies and so on. But this guy came and said, look, why don't you put it in our home and so on. And he became successful. But the hard fact of life is that Bill Gates had 10,000 hours of programming before he came with the idea of the PC. So the fact that he had spent time doing the programming has helped him to come up with that thing. And you can take the icon Haile Gebrselassie or many of our runners, and how they become good runners is that without knowing they have been running and running and running and running, and then they become good. So let me take you to my friend in December, Mulatu. He said to me that he just doesn't do music 1 hour or 2 hours a day. He works very hard on his music. How many years has he worked before being recognized as a very important musician? He said 43 years. So he has worked very, very hard to get where he gets. Now for us, I don't want to see it in a way of hard work, especially given Toastmasters where we have said, it's not advisable to work very hard all the time. But the thing is, in the Toastmasters, we get better by doing something again and again. The more we do it, we become better. Now, nowadays, we don't see anybody who stammers in your club. But in the good old days in my club, we have a lot of people who stammer. We have people who come to make a presentation and they go blank, and so on. So all that hard experience, doing it one time after another, makes you better. Don't you think so? It's like you have an important research project to present to your company. If you've been in the Toastmasters, it's not going to be as difficult. But why is it not difficult? It's because you've done it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 times. You have your CC and so on. So the more you do it, it becomes better. And whoever it is, whether it's Obama or Bush or whoever, Clinton, no speech is easy. There is always uneasiness in it. But what makes it easier or what makes it comfortable is that you have been trying to do it time and again. Now the last bit is a difficult bit. You do what you want, And then you know how to get success, how to be successful on it. But the third thing is, maybe how do you stay? How do you sustain? How do you do something great? Now again, the chart I had from Mulatu is interesting because he brought into me these ideas. Now, why do people like eat your charts? Why? And now you don't believe how successful he is. Let me give you a few ideas. If he has a concert in Paris or in Sydney or in some of the small islands, his tickets are sold 3 months in ahead. 3 months in advance, all tickets are sold, full house. So he's jumping from one full house into another. But how does it happen? One hint he gave was like, look, because Ethiopian jazz is very different. Because Ethiopia is very different. And then again, Ethiopian music is very different as well. So if you're something unique, or if you become yourself, as the two people were saying, then you have a better chance of presenting a unique proposition to people. And in the Toastmasters, you have that freedom or that space to be yourself, to experiment something. Okay, the speech and the speech contests have a certain framework, but then there is a lot of room for you to maneuver those things. Now, Mulatu has gone one step further. He is doing his PhD in Harvard in music, and what he wants to argue is, look, the whole concept of orchestra is a European thing. That's what is believed, is either a German or Austrian thing. But he's arguing, look, it's an Ethiopian thing. Because if you see the church and so on, where the yenita is there and the stick is there and how they do the things, that's the base of the conductor and the base of a group music. And he's saying, look, we had this 7th century, 6th century, and this is the original home of it. And with this, we can claim we are the owners of the orchestra. And it's a big thing to swallow for a lot of Europeans or Americans. And why? How can he get that far? How can he get this far? Because he does something he loves time and again. I love the Toastmasters. I would say in the first 3 years of my membership in the Toastmasters, probably I missed a single meeting or so. So I came in and out, and I did any assignment that I could get. And for you, as young, as vibrant, as eloquent as you are, what is it that I can say? Keep on doing what you're doing. Enjoy it. And definitely will take you places. And if you need to do that and be paid, then you can call me. That was my